Greetings, family and friends. Nadia, Roife here with Roife Law Group. And I'd like to make a video for our clients today and also to the general public at large who follows our channels and us on social media to educate you what to do when USCIS summons you for your interview. I'm going to be talking today for our presentation purposes specifically about what to expect from our Minneapolis-St. Paul field office. There are different procedures for different field offices, depending on where you are, how big the field office is, what to expect when you arrive, how the check-in process happens. And I'll make another video about the general check-in process and what to expect in general when you are summoned for your interview. But for the purposes of today, I'm just going to be talking specifically about the Minneapolis-St. Paul field office and what to expect about how to check in for your interview here. As most of you know, an interview is generated by you getting a notice that looks slightly like this document here. Either you would have received this already in the mail from USCIS, or you would have received this document from our office, most likely electronically. When you open this document and review it, my first recommendation is to read it carefully. The document will contain several important pieces of information. Specifically, the document will have your name here, will have your online account number, the citizenship application or the green card application that you filed will be indicated here under the case type. And then it will have either my information, my law office, or your address here. And the most important piece of the information will be contained in this box, which is where to appear for your interview. If you can read closer, this person is summoned to 250 Marquette Avenue, Suite 710, on when? December 2nd, 2021 at 2:05 p.m. Okay? Let's start first with trying to figure out how to get and where is the 250 Marquette Avenue. 250 Marquette Avenue is a downtown location in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. The building that you'll be entering is standing on this side of Marquette and perpendicular to Washington Avenue. It's a downtown location. Because it's a downtown location, sometimes parking is slightly dicey. You can either park on one of the available parking ramps in the area, or you can park on the street depending on the time of your interview. There's an app, it's called the Minneapolis Park app, that is unique for the Minneapolis parking area on the street on a park meter. However, remember that if your interview happens to be between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., unfortunately, you won't be able to park on the street. The city of Minneapolis has an ordinance that does not permit anyone in the downtown area to park from 7 to 9 a.m. on a parked meter, city meter. Therefore, you will probably need to go to a parking ramp. What I recommend that my clients do that are not familiar with this location is the evening before your interview, please input this information into your GPS from your house and drive to this location to first and foremost gauge how long it will take you to arrive at the location. If you are a morning appointment, please account for some traffic. And number two, not only how long it will take you, but where to park. There are various parking ramps and garages in the area that you can comfortably park at. Fairly expensive to fairly cheap, as much as $20 an hour to as cheap as about $4 on the street. But definitely get yourself familiarized with the location and the amount of time it will take you to get there, because again, it's a downtown location, Marquette and Washington Avenue, so parking is not the best. Once you park, you will enter this building and you will take the elevator. You will see on the right-hand side in the building of the 250 Marquette Avenue building, there will be a set of elevators that will point you and tell you to go to either immigration or also the Social Security Court. The Social Security Court also happens to be in that building. And you will take the elevator to floor number 7. You will take the elevator to 7th floor. In the interview notice, you'll see an indication that says that you need to arrive to suite 710. When you get off the elevator on the 7th floor, if you turn to the right or you turn to the left, it doesn't matter. You would have arrived at the front door of USCIS. Unlike other corporate building and locations all over the country, USCIS at the Minneapolis-St. Paul field office are the only tenant on the 7th floor. So you're not going to have to wander around the hallways aimlessly looking for the suite 710. So you will arrive immediately to the front gate. When to arrive to your interview. If you look at the interview notice, you will see in small, very fine print right up here, the interview notice summons you to arrive to your interview no more than 15 minutes ahead of your interview time. Why? Because of COVID. We still have COVID-related restrictions within the federal parameters of USCIS guidance, and therefore our local USCIS office asks that people do not crowd the waiting lobby. Therefore, when you arrive, the first guard will not permit you to enter the waiting area and to get screened, and I'll explain what that means, more than 15 minutes prior to the date of your appointment. This client's appointment, for example, is again on December 2nd, 2021 at 2:05 p.m., which means I will instruct this client to arrive not earlier than 1:50 p.m., 1:50 p.m., 15 minutes before her summon time of 2:05 p.m. When you arrive at the front door of USCIS, the first guard you will encounter will be a guard that will screen you for COVID-related questions. First and foremost, don't forget, your accompanying members that accompany you to the interview, such as a companion, a spouse, a driver, will have to have a mask together with you. You will have to be masked. Everyone is still wearing face covering at USCIS. The second thing, you will show the guard this interview notice. The guard will then double check that the interview notice comports with the 15-minute or less deadline that you're supposed to come for your interview time. After that, the guard will ask you the classic COVID questions and your companions the classic COVID questions. They will also be posted on the board right behind the guard or to the right of the guard. And the guard will ask you, are you sick? Have you been sick? Have you traveled? Have you been exposed? You will answer out loud, no, 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 no to all the questions. Now remember, the guard is not part of USCIS, it's a contractor. It's a contracting security company that USCIS works with. Therefore, unfortunately, the guard is not speaking any other language except English. He's not multilingual. Therefore, make sure that if you're coming with an interpreter or somebody to assist you, if English isn't your first or best language, if you have a medical exemption for your citizenship interview or an interpreter for your green card interview, make sure that they're present or somebody can assist you with those 4 questions. Once you and your accompanied person, your partner, your spouse, your driver, your family member are screened together with you, the second portion of the screening is a regular airport-like security guard. There will be 2 or 3 of them. All of the guards in the Minneapolis-St. Paul field office are male, so all of the guards will then check you for regular metal detector airport-like screening. There, they will ask you to consent for an administrative search for weapons and explosives because you are entering a federal facility or a facility that is being occupied by a federal administrative agency, USCIS, and they will go through the routine metal detector check. Gentlemen, you will take off your belt. Ladies, the same. Ladies, if you have a high heel versus a wedge or a flat, you'll have to take off your shoes because a high heel has a metal rod within it. I also recommend that you leave your personal belongings, excessive personal belongings in the car or with somebody else. So just take the essential documents per the interview notice, and I'll explain what they are in a different video, but just take the essential documents with you per the interview notice to your interview appointment, and then go through the metal detector that will screen your personal belongings, and you'll go through the detector and gather your belongings. The last step of the check-in process at the Minneapolis-St. Paul field office, after you clear security, is to actually register for your appointment. What that means is once you clear the second set of security, the security metal detector guards, you will see a long table in front of you with long sets of windows behind the table. And that is where you will register your arrival. You will give this interview notice, irrespective of whether your attorney, me, are there or not there yet. It's always good to check in ahead. You will give this interview notice to the USCIS clerk that is sitting behind that desk and has those big windows behind them. That individual, be it male or female, will also be masked. You will see a large proxy glass, and he or she will register you for the appointment and print, and most often staple, to either the top right or the top left corner of this notice a ticket. The ticket in the Minneapolis-St. Paul field office will always have a number and a letter, J4. And the officer will say, "Sir, ma'am, you, go ahead and have a seat. We will call you by your ticket number. Please do not be alarmed if you hear a number that is higher than yours. We do not call you in chronological order." In other words, if your number is P16, you could hear P12, P14, P15, P19, P17. That does not mean that your number or your queue, you were missed in the queue. No, it just means that the officer has not yet called you out of the queue. Eventually, you will hear your number being called. Very rarely does our field office call you by your name or by the last 3 digits of your alien registration number. Our field office does not tend to do that. They call you by the ticket number. And at that point, the officer will guide you to a different set of doors in the Minneapolis-St. Paul field office and escort you to their office and commence the interview. Last thing I want to discuss is what to wear. A lot of my clients are unsure as to what to wear, how to dress, what is and isn't appropriate, how formal should you be. I always recommend that you dress per what is recognized in the United States as business casual attire. Business casual means semi-formal, but not extremely formal or not extremely loose. I recommend that ladies, you can wear a dress, a nice blouse, a nice sweater, and I would say modest, conservative outfits. So nothing very revealing. I recommend nothing very tight, no workout clothes, even if they're considered now kind of in and trendy. No sneakers, definitely no t-shirts, nothing with holes, see-through mesh, respectable blouse, sweatshirt, nice pair of shoes, high heels or flats, up to you, and some sort of either skirt or pants. Oftentimes my client, especially women, ask me, what happens if I wear jeans? You're welcome to wear jeans. I always recommend that they're darker, kind of wash, not light jeans, but nothing with holes and such, so forth and so on. Fashion sneakers are very in right now. I just recommend that you don't show up in fashion sneakers, just wear nice shoes. Gentlemen, same for you. No workout clothes, no work clothes, unless you cannot get time off of work and then you must arrive in your work clothes. I also recommend that you don't wear hats. Gentlemen, you'll be asked to remove your hats. The only hats that are permissible are religious hats. So if you have, if you're a Muslim and you wear a head covering, if you're Jewish and you have a yarmulke or other nationalities, if you're Sikh, for example, and you have a turban, you will not be required to remove it. Religious wear is appropriate. Same with ladies that are modesty covering. Per religion, you will not be asked to remove your hijab, or if you're fully covered, if you're in the burqa, you're not going to be required to remove that. But otherwise, gentlemen, I also say no dirty t-shirts, no work gear, no sneakers, no holes, ripped things, jeans, and definitely no workout gear, just business casual, respect. And that's it. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ping us, folks, about the interview process and the screening process with the Minneapolis-St. Paul field office. But that is the general gist. My recommendation is to make sure you know where you're going, to look for parking the day before. When you arrive, take the elevator to the 7th floor, go through the first set of guards and the second set of metal detector guards. Once you're through the security, register your appointment. Remember that don't call in chronological order and dress respectful. Thank you for your time. Any questions, you can ping us online, roifelawgroup.com, or call us at 952-544-4544. We look forward to helping. Take care.